one of the concepts that I talk about in my book that I launched on August 8th of 2024 is called The Essential Guide of Strategic Growth, is related to the topic of a marketecture. So if you Google a marketecture, you'll get multiple different definitions. But when it comes from the paradigm of developing your go-to-market partnerships, who you're going to integrate with, who you're going to partner with that will potentially drive further sales, the whole concept behind it is starting with what do customers need? What do they value? So the book really starts talking and focusing about some of those main concepts that are very important on understanding the needs of the market. And the way to understand the needs of the market is two ways. The first way is horizontal needs. These are needs that every customer across every industry requires or needs from your software or from your application or from your offering. The second one is what do vertical customers need? That could be somebody in financial services, might need more security, or might need certain other KYC requirements, which stands for Know Your Customer, which may require different levels of integration. Same way on the healthcare side, healthcare companies might need an integration into their EHR or maintain EHI information. So then you start to see certain nuances by industry. So we start with horizontal needs and then with the vertical needs within the specific industry. So in order to start, typically where I go is if it's an established organization, an established industry, we start with Gartner, IDC, Forrester reports. We see what market analysts are talking about, which are the current trends and the current needs that customers are typically looking for in that particular sector or in a particular industry. Once we start jotting down those needs from Forrester Gartner, the next step is to look at customer reviews. One platform I love looking at is G2 Crowd. So G2 typically gives, honest feedback, and there could be other platforms as well. I'm not strung on it. That's something I particularly like is G2 Crowd. They provide the customer reviews on the particular platform. You can find the strengths, the weaknesses, and what are some of the things that are lacking or what customers might be looking for. Once you start amalgamating all of those different types of needs in the market, you begin to categorize those needs into pure categories. Like, okay, one might be related to messaging, one could be related to compliance, one could be related to, something specific that's in that industry. When I was working for a contact center company, we were one of the things was related to transcription and voice transcription, being able to just transcribe all the information that was coming through a phone call and putting it in a digital format. Another one was related to workforce management and integrating that. So once you have an understanding of what the needs are, that's when you then categorize those needs into broad-based categories and themes. And then you look at your own product and say, where are those needs met? Where are they not being met? And where they're not being met or where there may be gaps in the product is where you begin to understand what is going to be developed internally versus what can be done better by partnering. Of course, the engineering resources in an organization are limited. The engineers, the product team are always going to be focused on developing the product at a broad scale, and then ensuring that certain features, criteria, functions, reliability, scalability of the product are in place before they go into all these other features or functions, some of which might be better being done to partner with. I'll give you an example. Google has a great voice transcription engine. You have an API called Dialogflow. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense for organizations to develop their own product offering in that space. In fact, it would give customers a better validation that your product is using Google transcription APIs in this case. So that's an example where developing those partnerships and those key integrations will actually enhance your product and offering and be able to go to market a lot faster versus waiting for product and the engineering teams to go develop that. So then by stitching together the market needs horizontally, and then over time also for each of those verticals, such as healthcare, finance, retail, manufacturing, what the nuances are in those industries and the key systems that those industries use that you might need to integrate with are critical to then be able to understand who you would partner with. So it starts with the needs, and then categorizing those needs across horizontal needs, vertical trend needs. And then once you have that, that's already in itself a great place to start. You validate that internally with the sales team. You make sure that you've seen, win-loss reports. You have one-on-ones with some of the key sellers in the organization of why they may have lost deals. What are some of the objections they see? What are some of the limitations the product doesn't have that can be sufficed with partnerships by integrating with certain other organizations that might be able to expand the features of your existing product. Once you have this, then you start putting names in those categories. Who can we partner with that will solve this specific need in the industry? And if it's, let's say, healthcare, and one of the largest CRMs in healthcare is Salesforce's Health Cloud. So with Vyver, you might need to develop an integration into the Vyver CRM to serve healthcare customers. You might need to integrate with Epic or Cerner EHR systems that maintain patient health records. And these are the nuances that once you have that and are able to place that into your Marketecture, you then paint a very detailed picture of who and which partners you want to work with as you go and develop that Marketecture. Once you have this starts to prioritize and give you an idea of the number of partnerships you need to create, which categories you're going to go after first. And that information, you'll be surprised, over a series of interviews with your sales and product teams, as well as looking at where the market is going, you can very easily start to understand which categories you want to prioritize first. That will drive the maximum revenue. One of the, and again, coming back to the example of when I was a VP of partnerships at a contact center organization, was omni-channel messaging. While voice was being taken care of by the contact center technology, being able to offer a robust messaging platform, SMS, WhatsApp, integrated into the CRM, was going to drive exponentially a significant number of more deals, because that's what customers needed. They did not just want a voice-only solution, which covered maybe 60 to 70% of the cases that were coming into their contact center, but they also needed a solution to solve for being able to communicate with customers via SMS, and if they were outside the US, in WhatsApp. So that single partnership itself would drive significant value and ARR and help the sales team win those deals in case there was an objection that this company did not offer a robust messaging platform. So this is the kind of value that when you put together a Marketecture based on the needs, and understanding who are the companies that solve those needs, and then going out and developing your partnership strategy, is a much clearer way that can really transform the organization and also inform your executives on where it is you're going, what's your roadmap over the next 6, 12, 18 months, what are all the various partnerships that you're going to work on. And then it also enables the product team to understand where they are going to develop and where they're not going to develop the technology further, because you understand the partnerships team is going to be going and delivering those in due time. I'd encourage you to read the book. It details out a lot more and also does a real example that I picked a payments company. I've never worked in payments, and the book sort of articulates how I found those needs just by using a simple internet connection and a laptop to understand and scour the internet to understand those needs, and then being able to develop who those potential partnerships could be. So that's in essence what the Marketecture model is.